Hello, hi everybody, and welcome to Hannah's Happy Space. My name is Hannah and you join me here in my happy space surrounded by all my crafty goodness. For those of you that haven't seen me before, my happy space is here at home in Oakhampton, which is a small town in Devon in England, and the weather today is absolutely horrendous, so hopefully you can't hear too much of the rain. Where I'm sat doing my podcast is next to my conservatory doors, and the rain on the conservatory roof is so loud. I have tested it and you couldn't hear it a minute ago, so hopefully we'll get all the way through this without too much disruption. I think a lot of places have got this absolutely horrendous weather at the moment, so all this week we've had wind and rain here and it's been pretty miserable, but it has meant staying at home, doing a little bit more crafting than usual maybe. Okay, so like I say, for those of you who haven't seen me before, hello, welcome, thank you for joining me here on my channel. Hopefully you enjoy what you see and decide to stay, and welcome back to my subscribers, and thank you as well for coming back again. So I've got a few things to show you this week. Been a bit busier. We've got some knitting, some crochet, and a little bit of sewing. Not a huge amount, but I just thought I'd give you a little bit of an update on what I've been up to there. So we'll start with knitting, I think, and we'll get straight to it, and I'll show you my finished objects. So let me have a look. The first finished object is a pair of socks. Got a few pair of socks this week. Now, if you saw my last video, you might have seen that I was talking about a pair of socks that I knitted for my brother Harry, double knit socks. He's got about size 10 feet, and I knit the socks and wasn't able to show you them because they went straight to him and onto his feet. I was able to show you the little bit of yarn that was left over, but not the actual socks. He did ask for more socks, and I have managed to make the socks and hold on to them so I can show you guys before he gets them. So again, double knit socks. Okay, so if I hold this a little bit closer, you might be able to see the different colours in there. Now, I actually knit this sock holding two yarns together. So two 4-ply yarns to make a double knit. And I have used the plain green, you might see runs all the way through. That is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. That's a sock yarn. And I think it's called Green Apple or Sour Apple. Can't quite remember that one. Annoyingly, West Yorkshire Spinners don't always put their names on the ball bands, just numbers, so it doesn't remind me what it's called. But that's the West Yorkshire Spinners. So that is 75% wool, 25% nylon. So that's the green throughout this. Then the stripes have come from a King Cole Zig Zag sock yarn. And they've worked really well, I think. I've had a pair made for me before using two strands held together, so I thought I'd give it a go. And again, double knit socks, knit up super quick. These took me a day, I think. He's got quite big feet, but again, knits up super quick. And just prove that I've got a pair. So that's the first one. That's just a basic sock pattern. I always use Winwick Mum's basic sock pattern. So they're cuff down, done a 2x2 rib, heel flap and gusset, and then your toe shaping. I don't know if this has got a special name, this type of toe decrease. You decrease on both sides. I know there's lots of different ways of doing socks, but that's the one I always go for. Like I've done previously, the links for all these patterns and yarns will be down in the description box below if anybody wants to have a go themselves or have a look at the different patterns that I've been using. So that's the first one. Second finished object, like I say, there's been a few pairs of socks recently. I showed you a pair that I was working on last week, last podcast, so I'll show you those next. And again, these are just vanilla socks, if you like, basic socks, again using the Winwick Mum sock pattern. But sometimes some yarn doesn't need cables or lace or colour work. Some yarn just, I feel, works well on its own. Show it off to its full potential. I had a sock set from, there we go, Sable Yarns. And the sock set was a 50 gram of the main colour and a 20 gram contrast. Now I added a scrap of another contrast to these. I showed you these before. So the colours that came in the sock set were this main colour here, which is called Party City. And then it came with the neon yellow contrast, and I added a scrap of neon green for the heels that I had in my stash. The colours aren't showing up brilliantly, what with the weather, but I'll show you again. Definitely got two of those, and I've made them for myself. So these are a size 8 sock, and I've actually got some yarn left. So there was 50 grams to begin with of that. I haven't weighed it yet, but there's enough there to do some contrast on something or to go into a scrappy project. And I've also got a bit of the yellow left. And there's only 20 grams of that. Really only takes a very little amount for cuffs and toes. So I could have done the heels as well. That would have been no problem, but I just wanted to add an extra colour. So there we go. A very bright pair of neon socks for me. Those ones are I haven't used Sable Yarns before. Super soft. Really like it. And I actually got this yarn from a yarn swap that I did with Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit. So that was that one. So I'll definitely be looking out for more sock sets. They were a really good idea, I think, with the contrast and the main colour. So that's that pair. And we have got one more pair of socks. Let me find them. I've got a whole table full of things here, and I should have been a little bit more organised with how I've put them out. Now these socks I showed you a couple of podcasts back. It's a little while ago now. And I had completed one sock, I think, when I last showed them to you, and hadn't started the second one at all. And gone off them a little bit, really. Not what they were going to be, gone off of that, but just doing the pattern, really. Didn't fancy doing it and got distracted by lots of other things. So this pattern is called On the Fence Socks. And this is a sock with some colour work. So we've got colour work at the top and colour work on the toe. So it's made this zigzag chevron type pattern. So this pattern, like I say, is called On the Fence and is from Fishhead Creations. And it's actually a free pattern on Ravelry. I'll put a link to that down below. And the yarns that I've used, I've got some left over. This is a yarn from Siobhan's Crafts. It's got some stellina in there. So I've got pinks and greys and blacks. I haven't got the ball band for that. I've used this yarn for a few projects now. The main project that it went into was Dotted Rays shawl from Stephen West. So I'm not even sure how much I started with, but obviously haven't used a huge amount because I've only used it for contrast parts of the sock. Then the main body of the sock was this one. And that's a Malabrigo sock yarn. And I think I told you before when I was talking about these socks that this yarn hasn't got any nylon in it. It's a superwash treated yarn 4 socks. It says it's 4 socks, so I'd be interested to see how these wear and how they wash. They're super soft again, as is Siobhan's yarns, both really nice and soft. And to prove that there are 2, there we go, 1 pair. And these are, again, for me, I have got an awful lot of hand knitted socks, as sock knitters do, but a huge amount of them are commercial yarns. Absolutely nothing wrong with commercial yarns for socks. I never really wanted to use hand-dyed socks for yarn. Hand-dyed socks for yarn? That's not right, is it? Hand-dyed yarn for socks. Because I just thought, well, you know, back when I was buying them at first, they're a bit dearer. Some of them are so nice you think, well, who's going to see them on your feet? But I've decided I'm going to try and replace some of my commercial plain socks and change them for some hand-dyeds and do some colour work and pattern work and things, because maybe not lots of people are going to see them, but I'm going to see them when I choose them in the morning to put them on and throughout the day. And sometimes it's nice just to look down and think, oh, I made those, and oh, aren't they a nice colour? And that's a clever bit of colour work there. So that's my aim, to treat myself and replace some of my other socks. So that's 3 pairs of socks finished. I have got some different things to show you, so it's not all just socks today. That is my knitted whips. That's all of those at the moment. If you see me keep looking down, people who've watched before will know that I've got some notes here on the table and I'm looking down at those. I'm not ignoring the camera or anything, so just that's what I'm up to. Let's have a quick drink. Okay, so like I say, that's all my knitted whips, and we'll go on to some crochet. So I've just got 1 crochet whip to show you. Now, I've done a few amigurumi projects recently, and it's really inspired me to get back into that a bit. And I'm trying to keep an amigurumi project on the go all the time now, because A, I enjoy doing them, and B, they're quite smallish projects. I can just do a little bit here and a little bit there. Or like last night I was knitting and thought, oh, I've had enough of knitting for now, I'll go over to crochet. So that's the plan at the moment with crochet. I wasn't sure what I wanted to make the other week. Done a few, like I say, animals from my Pick a Pow books. If you've seen the last couple of podcasts, you'll have seen those. But I fancied doing a doll, doing a person rather than an animal. So I went on to Ravelry, Lovecrafts, Etsy, had a look through, found lots of different designers, lots of patterns, but I couldn't make my mind up. Went on to my Instagram and had a look through to see what designers I follow, and came across this person, which hopefully I'm saying it right, Armour. It's ARMOURFOU. So I'm hopefully I you know, haven't done anything too awful there by saying Armour. I followed her for a while. Some of you will probably know who she is if you're a crocheter. She's got a book out at the moment, which is Iconic Crocheted Women, with loads of lovely patterns in. I also looked at some of those. It took me a while to decide which one I wanted to do, but in the end I went for this one, and it's called Lily. She's Lady of the Lake, I think you could say, is the idea. It's a fantasy pattern that she is featured in a different crochet book. I think it's a Dragons and Unicorns, one of those ones. I'm not 100% sure. So let me show you who she is, because you're probably thinking, what on earth are you talking about, Hannah? We don't know what you're saying. If you follow me over on Instagram, I did put a picture in the stories when I was crocheting her hair, because they make lovely little ringlet curls. So here we go, let me show you. So there's the top of her. Let's sort her hair out. there she is. So you can see, like I say, she's I think like a lake goddess or something like that, because her dress, I move all her hair out of the way, is the lake colour, and then goes down to the bottom where it spreads out. So when she stood up, it pulls out, and she's got these little lily pads and lilies around the bottom of her dress. So I don't know, I just looked at the patterns and just thought I liked this one, so I'd have a go at it. And I'm really pleased with how she's turned out, actually. She has got legs underneath, but obviously her dress supports her to stand up on her own. And I like doing the face, actually. If I move it closer a little bit, the nose is actually a crochet stitch. So rather than embroidering on a nose, it's a bobble stitch, which is quite good, I think. So this one has been crocheted using Ricorumi DK, and these come in 25-gram balls. So I've used all of the colours, including the gold, are all Rikurumis. So yeah, that is Lily, and she's taken a place up on the mantelpiece. The mantelpiece is getting quite full of sewn toys and crochet toys. I'll have to try and take a picture at some point, show you who's up there. If I keep making more, they're going to have a little bit of a swap around. So there we go. Again, didn't take a huge amount of time, just because I was enjoying doing it so much. Just kept going. I did have to stop at one point though, because I ran out of which colour was it? The colour for her dress. So had to wait to get hold of some more of that. Yeah, I'm really pleased with her. There we go. So, those are all my finished objects for this time. Bit more knitting, a little bit of crochet. Haven't done any sewing projects so much this time. I have got, like I say, some sewing to show you, but I'll show you that when we get through the whips, the works in progress, which we'll come over to now, I think, now that we've got through the projects. So, whips. Sorry, I'm looking everywhere today. I feel like I'm not very organised, and I can feel myself saying and and all sorts. It's because I hadn't really planned on recording this today. Doing it again. It is quiet at home. There's nobody here, so I thought I'd take advantage of the free time and get it recorded now. So, whips, works in progress. Let's go. Knitting. Showed you this one last time in my lovely spotty bag from Jeanette from Crafty Clegg. Let me get hold of this. Oh, we are attached to one ball. Now I'll show you the colours that I've been using. These were all colours that I dyed myself. So we've got pink, yellow and orange. Those are all the contrast colours. And the main colour is this purpley blue. And these colours I am knitting the Slipstravaganza from Stephen West. Now, when I showed you previously, oops, getting in a tangle, hold on just one moment. I had started and was sort of halfway through this striped honeycomb section, which I'm really pleased with how that's come out. Okay, you can see the colours just right there. So I've done finished that section. Now this pattern was released as a knit along, a mystery knit along, so it came in sections. So I'll refer to that as I'm going. Can't quite remember all the names of the sections, however. So that was the first part. Then we come down to, it's really tricky to show you because it's quite a large shawl already, and obviously it's on a circular needle, so it all bunches up. Then we've come down to this section here, the orange and the purple, which is like a check. Then onto this part's called the diamonds. I'm not obviously all the way through yet, but you can see that the shapes in the colour will create that diamond shape. So like there's a triangle, the pink, orange and the yellow, so like half a diamond, so it will continue to make the diamond shape. Let's see, it's all very bunched up on needles. I think I might have to go on to a bigger cable soon, or add a cable. I'm knitting this one on Knit Pro Symphony interchangeables, so I can change the wire, or I have got some little connectors that, so you take off the needle, put a connector on, and you can add another cable to make it a bit longer. I haven't done a bit of this, probably haven't done any of this week, this shawl. Been doing other things. It's got quite big, and I've been doing a lot of little projects recently, and it takes a little bit more concentration, but I will get on and do a little bit more, because it's coming out absolutely beautifully. Really pleased with the colours. I'm really pleased actually that I chose to do this pattern, because when it first came out, I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I hadn't done a huge amount of Stephen West patterns at that point. I did the Winter Light shawl in between. That came out after this pattern, so I did that one and thought, well, I've had a good go at that one. I managed to do it, enjoyed doing it, so time to give this one a go. So that's the Slipstravaganza. Pop that one back in the bag. Okay, so that's that one. Then we move on to a garment, not socks, not shawls. However, it's not a garment for me. This is a jumper for my nephew Sebby. Asked for a jumper. He has been through my stash of wool, and I found some more out in the garage actually. I think I've said previously that me and my sister used to run a company called Chameleon Crafters. We used to make crochet kits, so we bought a lot of wool in bulk for those, so had some left over, and this is the colour that he has chosen. This is Cygnet yarn, Utopia. It's a double knit, it's 100% acrylic, and this colour is Shangri-La. So pretty jazzy. So that's what he's chosen. Now, I wanted to do a jumper in the round, and I was struggling to find a pattern. So I just have decided to use the Flax pattern from Tin Can Knits as a sort of guide, a bit of a recipe. I've got both the Flax, which is an Aran weight pattern, and the Light, which is a 4-ply pattern, and I've been using those two patterns as a guide. My mum showed me how to measure your work to work out the stitches per inch, measured Sebby to see how many inches we needed, did a few calculations. Hopefully they're right. So far I have got the body. So that's all done. So it's knit from the top down. The Flax patterns are free patterns, so I don't think I'm showing you anything I shouldn't be. So like I say, top down, then you've got your raglan shaping, split for the sleeves, body and the rib, and then the cast off. And you'll be pleased to see, if you saw last time, I was a bit tight on my cast off. We've got a stretchier cast off this time. So I Haven't tried it on him yet because he hasn't stood still long enough for me to, or I've not remembered to, but these are taken from his measurements. The next thing I've got to try and work out is the sleeves. So obviously pick up the sleeves here, knit in the round, which is all fine. I just need to work out how many decreases, where the decreases, that kind of thing. So it'll probably be a little bit more of a calculation, working out, bit of help from mum. But like I say, only sleeves to do. I do need to measure his arms, and that's just remembering to and getting hold of him to do that. So hopefully that one's not going to take too much longer. I have knit a rift before. I've done the Aran. I'd made one for myself. That was the first top-down jumper I'd made before, so I had an idea of what I was doing with that one. Okay, whoop, pile things up there. So that's Sebby's jumper. Another work in progress is over here. So unorganised with where things are. More socks. This time we're in another bag from I bought from Jeanette, this one. Lovely birds on there. That's Jeanette from Crafty Clegg. So in here, let's get that one out, and that one. Quick drink. So this one is the Rickrack Socks. So a bit more colour work. Once I'd finished those on the fence socks, I thought I'll have another go at some colour work. So like I say, the Rickrack Socks, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry from Nicole Simmons. I'll put a link in the description box. And the colours that I'm using are this one. It's not showing up quite true. Like I say, the weather is horrendous. So that is West Yorkshire Spinners again, and that colour is Spearmint. And then the main colour I'm using is this one. Different shades of pinks and yellow. And that one is from Siobhan's Crafts. Now, yeah, last year and the year before actually, but this one's from last year, Siobhan did a Disney themed monthly club. So that's come from this one, and this colourway is Aurora Sleeping Beauty. Okay, so this one is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and I have used a lot of Siobhan's yarns for all kinds of projects. I really highly recommend her yarns. Beautiful, beautiful colours, very clever lady. Again, I'll link her down in the description. If you don't follow her already, she's really worth a follow. Okay, so that's the two colours together. And here is a sock. I have done the cuff and the ankle, and I've started on the heel flap. So if I show you the back. So again, another zigzag pattern, a bit different this time. There we go. Nice simple pattern all the way around. And like I say, I've just got onto the heel flap. Need to make the heel flap a little bit longer. Now, I have combined the basic sock pattern from Winwick Mum again into this, just because I know, I know how to knit it and knit it well, and I know that it will fit me. So I've gone for 2x2 rib for the cuff, which I think is what's in the pattern anyway. Obviously I followed the colour work. Now the pattern suggests after that to knit 20 rows before getting to the heel flap, which I thought was going to be a little bit long for me. So I've only done 10 rows and I've done flat knitting. In the actual pattern, it's got a texture to it, which I didn't fancy for this time, which that pattern carries on down the foot, and there's more colour work on the toe, similar to the last pair that I showed you actually, but I'm just going to go with a normal stocking stitch. So I'll show you once more. There we go. Really pleased with that actually, and I was even more impressed with myself that because the colourwork chart is over 4 stitches, the yarns change quite a lot, and I managed to work out how to do it with 2 hands. So one hand was in control of the pink yarn, one hand was in control of the blue yarn, and I worked out how to wrap. It took a little while, wrap the yarn in my wrong hand, if you like, around the yarn so that the stitches were the right way around. Gosh, I can't talk today. So they were the right way round on the needles, because I did it one round and I had to turn all my stitches as I got to them. So I worked that one out. I was quite impressed with myself. I was worried that it was going to make my knitting too tight, make the floats too tight, but they seem okay. There's nothing that looks too tight or too loose, and they still got their stretch to them, so hopefully they'll be okay. So like I said, those are the Rickrack Socks from Nicole Simmons, a free pattern on Ravelry, so I'll link that one in the description. Okay, so that's all my knitting whips at the moment. Yeah, definitely, just checking. I've got a crochet project to show you that I'm doing. As you can see behind me, yeah, just there is the crochet blanket, the June blanket that I showed you a couple of podcasts ago. Don't think it was the last one, it might have been. I've done a couple more rows to it, but not a huge amount to show you again. So when I've done a few more colours, I'll give you a little update on that. So the next pattern that I'm working on, crochet, comes from this book. The Ricorumi, Lovely World of Ricorumi Wild Animals. Now, you've seen me show some of the Ricorumi yarns before in the crochet project I've done this time in Lily. I've used it a lot for lots of projects. They're really handy actually, because they're small balls. Sometimes you only need a little bit of one colour, so works out really well. And obviously this pattern book has been written in conjunction with those yarns. The designer for this particular book is Tiny Curl. I have mentioned her before in one of my podcasts. I crocheted Tiny Bird, which was the blue bird with the bobbly top, and that's from the same designer. I really like the style of her toys actually, they're quite whimsical. She doesn't use safety eyes or anything, she embroiders eyes on, and I quite like the shapes that she does for those. So the pattern that I am doing is the donkey. And there he is. I shall show you where I've got up to. Now I'm using, like I say, the Ricorumi yarns, not exactly the same colours that they've got, that they suggest in the pattern, but close enough. We've got a light brown, like a beige speckle. I think this one's called spray print. And then for the main body, we've got a darker brown spray. So I have made the nose, which actually is a little bit wonky, but never mind. So that's made in one piece, and you embroider on, got the mouth and the nose, and then you start making the body, and we've got some cheeks and some eyes, and I'm just down to the bottom of the body part, getting into the decreases, which will need stuffing. So almost a complete body for that one. And again, I am quite a quick crocheter, I will say, and I've done a lot of amigurumi before, so I know what I'm doing. But I did start this last night, a couple of hours to do that. So still needs arms, legs, mane and a tail, but that's where we're up to for that one. I have done another design actually from this book. I've done the Koala Bear, so I can show you the picture of, she says, if she can find it. I would show you the koala, but I'm not 100% sure where it is. There is a photo of it on my Instagram. I've mentioned my Instagram quite a few times. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, you can over there at Hannah's_happy_space. There's a link in the description if you want to head over there and have a look. You'll be able to see progress of what I'm up to and the finished items on there as well. Sometimes it's better to show you some of the finished items on there as well. Again, oops, because of colours or because some of them are so big you can't fit them on the screen here to show you during this. Okay, so knitting, crochet, sewing. Now I spoke about this, I don't know if it was in the, might be as far back as the first podcast, definitely the second. I'm taking part in something that's running over on Instagram called 100 Hexies for 100 days, which is exactly what it sounds like. You make 100 hexagons, EPP, English paper piecing, sewing, over 100 days. And those 100 days have different themes, weekly themes, and this has been set by So Foxy Mama. Now the themes, I've got them all written down here, I'll have to double check, but I've shown you some of them previously, and I've added to them. There's some photos on my Instagram again for the different weeks, and I finally got round to sewing most of them, catching up, sewn a lot of them together. So as you can see, we've got one big piece now. These are 1 1/4 inch hexies that I've chosen to use, and I'm obviously hand sewing them together, slow stitching, sew them all together, and hopefully we'll use the piece of fabric that's made to make probably a project bag. So that takes me up to week 10 all sewn together. And I've got some more here ready to go. So week 11 was Fairy Tale. So, oops, dropped some of them. So we've got all different characters, storybook characters, fantasy creatures, fairy tale themes, those kind of things. And these are all from my stash, different bits that I could find at home. So that is week 11 fairy tales, and then week 12, which was last week, is animals. I'll just quickly show you these. Hedgehog, my favourite, polar bear, squirrel, another elephant, bird and fox. So those are ready to be added on. This week is seasons, and I have to be honest, I haven't done any yet. I will try and get those done for the end of this week, and then find an evening to stitch them all together. Now you might have seen, I don't know if you do sewing, if you do EPP, it's a really almost meditative type of thing to do, slow stitching, just taking some time to do something you enjoy, something quiet and relaxing and repetitive, just over and over again. I find it really enjoyable. I know lots of other people do, so that's why I've taken part in this particular project. I like EPP. But that sort of ties in a little bit with this week has been Mental Health Awareness Week. If you've seen my podcast before, you might be aware that I suffer with my mental health. I have depression and anxiety. And I won't go into it a huge amount here, but obviously it is incredibly important that we all talk about our mental health, that we listen to people talking about their mental health, and are aware of all the different types of mental health conditions out there. I know during this lockdown, things have been really difficult for a lot of people. And even now things, I mean, here in the UK, things are starting to lift and ease. People are still finding it difficult. I know personally with my anxiety, I'm going to struggle when there's more people about, being out and about a bit more. That's going to take me some time to get used to. If you are one of those people that struggles with their mental health, is feeling more anxious than they would do normally, just remember you're not on your own. There are lots of people out there to support you. If you ever want someone to listen, someone to talk to about those things, then you can always send me a DM over on Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube, and we'll try and get in touch somehow. But I don't want anybody to feel like they're on their own, or that they can't talk about it to somebody. So just remember, you're not on your own. Like I say, lots of us out there are all coping in different ways with different things. And things, I know it sounds very cliche, things can only get better, can't they? If we all do our best, listen to those that need listening to, help those that need the help, and mostly just look after yourself. Find some time for yourself to craft, if that's what you like to do. Find something else that makes you happy. It might be reading, it might be baking, it could be anything, but just having that little bit of time for yourself really benefits everybody's mental health, whether you suffer with a condition or not. So just take a little bit of time out for yourself, okay? Right, we'll move on. So we've done works in progress, we've done finished objects, and then last of all to show you is a few new bits and pieces that have come in. Actually, there's only two things, oh no, three. Now, a project that I'm going to be starting, sorry that was on the floor, that's why I had to lean down there. A project that I'm going to be starting shortly is the Keysight Wrap, and that is from Zines and Roger, which is Rosina over on Instagram. Actually, she lives fairly local to me. I think she's Exeter based. She's released this wrap called, like I say, Keysight Wrap, and just tying in back to mental health awareness, the proceeds from this pattern are actually going to charity. She's splitting them over two charities. So the first one is the DEC, the Disaster Emergency Committee, which is related to helping people during the pandemic. I think in her info that she's written about it, particularly they're doing a lot of work over in India with the COVID pandemic. And the second charity is Calm Zone, which is a mental health charity, and is something that she feels very passionate about, is very close to her personal life. I won't go into it too much because it can be quite upsetting for some people, can be triggered feelings and that kind of thing. So I won't go into it a huge amount. If you want to find out more, then the link will be in the description. Zine and Rogers, there's a bit more information on her post about it. Or you might just want to have a look and see what the shawl is. Like I said, I haven't got a picture to show you what it's going to be, but it's a very modern design. It's a crochet shawl, triangular shawl, but it's very geometric, and it's got some intarsia crochet, so different colour changing. I'll just show you the yarns that I'm going to use. Get them out. So it's 4-ply yarn that it requires, and you need 1 main colour and 3 contrasting colours. So I've gone for Drops Nord, and this is a 45% alpaca, 30% polyamide, 25% wool, and I'm going to have a drink because it's a bit, some of the fluff's just come off. Excuse me. Right, so, oh, I thought these labels had names on, but they don't. So that's my main colour, which is sort of plum purpley colour. Then the 3 contrast colours are rusty sort of orange colour, a green, which I don't think, oh, you can sort of almost see on the camera there that it's sort of a green and a yellow mixed together. I think that's called Olive Mix. And finally a yellow. So those are the colours that I'm going to be using for my shawl. Again, I'll probably have this started next time I speak to you, so you'll have a bit more information, know a bit more about what I'm going on about. If you want to have a look, then like I say, I'll put a link in there. So that's some new yarn that's come in for a new pattern. And another bit of incoming is last time, one of the times I showed you that I have had this come through the post, Mini Kaleidoscope Club. This is from James Makes Things. Now, this is a monthly box. It's not a subscription because you don't sign up for it. It's sort of first come, first serve each month. So after I had last time's, I knew I had to have this time's. Well, actually, this is April's. I have ordered May's, but this. So if you haven't had yours already, I think most of them have, and you don't want to see what it is, look away now. But if you do want to know what it is, here we go. There we go. They are really beautiful. It does some absolutely stunning colours. This time we've got a solid in there, but it's a really beautiful solid. Got some rainbows, pinks and purples. It's pretty close to accurate there. Oh, that's a bit better if I turn it away from the light there. So these are 20 gram skeins of 4-ply. Okay, so that's that one. And last of all is a 100 gram skein of yarn from Dyed in the Wool. That's that one. And this colour is called Roots Radical, and it's a sock yarn. It's 75% merino wool superwash, 25% nylon, and it is green. Very green. And I bought this to go with a skein that I've had in my stash for a while, and I'm just looking at it. It looks very battered, the label. Let me just see if there's anything I can do with it. Not really. It's been, oh, that's sad. Look how crumpled it is. This is from Unbelievable, and it's called The Witches. And again, it's a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon sock yarn. And it's a grey, but it's got lots of different neon colour pops throughout, speckles. So I thought those two would go really well together. So that's what that has been bought for. I've got a couple of patterns in mind for these two colours. Haven't made my mind up yet, so I'll keep looking until I'm 100% sure on what I want to do with those. But that's those. Okay, I think that's everything. Yeah, looking around. thank you if you managed to stick with me all the way through for all this babbling and unorganisation from me this time. I'm very sorry. Hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen and it hasn't been too terrible to watch. If you're a new viewer and you want to subscribe, it's not always like this. I am usually a bit more organised. You can go back and watch some of the old videos to see what podcasts are normally like. I'm not normally tripping over every single word that I say. Yeah, so anybody who's watched, you want to like, you want to subscribe, that's excellent. If you want to leave me a comment, that's brilliant as well. I do my best to comment back. If I don't have time to comment back, I do like or put a little heart on the comments so you know that they have all been read. If you want to follow me over on Instagram, again, it's Hannah's_happy_space. There'll be a link in the description. There'll be links in the description for all the yarns and the patterns. And I think that's everything. I think I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea. And just sit down and do nothing for 5 minutes until I put my knitting up again. Thank you very much for joining me this time. Take care everybody. See you again soon. Bye.